Folks, you are looking live at the virtual version of Imola's Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari. You know, sim racing is a family. It's a group of strangers from around the globe, united by a love for racing and computers. Some people dedicate a large part of their lives to helping other sim racers. When a family member loses a loved one, we all grieve. Tonight's race is brought to you by Sam Maxwell Customs. Sam lost his father on Saturday. It's a void nobody can fill. So tonight, we dedicate this race to Sam Maxwell Sr. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker starts now.
It is Thursday night. We are live on the iRacing Esports Network. Round number 8 of the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker takes us to the beautiful hills of Italy. Good evening. I'm Jason Galvin. Nick Schmeg joined me in the booth tonight. I'm Jed Yaman, as always, calling the shots behind the cameras of Dougie Beer. This is the Sim Experience Countdown to the Greens, the Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola. Tricky track, the Lionheart Retro Series, and its inaugural event here at Imola. A fast, technical, Nick, incredibly unforgiving racetrack.
Oh, absolutely, Jason. Enzo Ferrari and his son Dino, legendary racing names here in Italy, are honored by the full-length name of Imola, Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The track's location causes it to often fall under the flag of San Marino, and after opening in the 50s has seen several configuration and safety modifications. After several chapters in the Italian motorsports history books have been written, in 2019 we're left with the 4.9-kilometer, 3-mile, 17-turn venue laid out over the twisty hills off the coast of the Adriatic we've come to know and love today. It's a tight track, and the elevation change just adds to the precision needed to carry your speed around here. On top of that, these cars, who are no strangers to the draft, are going to have to work hard to maintain that through the flat zones, like that weaving back and forth front stretch. To get a better idea of how to wheel a Lotus 79 around Imola and how to keep it on track, allow me now to send you down to the track for the GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Johan Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Imola. Down the front stretch, you're kind of weaving back and forth trying to straighten out the track. Then comes Tamburello, which will probably be your best place to attempt to pass. Try to hug this first apex, don't track out too far after the second, and then let it fly through the third. As we come up to Villeneuve, it's going to be tempting to try passes, but the faster first half of the chicane makes it very, very tricky. If you come in here too wide, you'll probably lose a lot of time. Then it's a short burst up to Tosa. This car does not like accelerating out of slow corners, so expect a few drivers to lose it while trying to get to the power. But it'll be important to get on the gas as early as you can because it's a steep climb up to Piratella. Every ounce of momentum counts. It's always incredibly hard to get the car to turn into the apex here. You can use some of the AstroTurf on the exit, but it doesn't really offer much grip. For Aqua Minerale, you're going to be slowing, turning, and braking through the first half. Very tough. Then, the second half is even slower. Don't drift out too far or else you can get a slowdown penalty. Those two bends will bite a lot of drivers before the day is out. Then we climb back up out of the valley and hold to the left. Alta is the tightest of the 3 chicanes on this track. While passes can be made, your competitor will need to cooperate or else you'll likely tangle. Once again, watch the AstroTurf because it's slippery. Then we're going to weave back downhill. Try to angle the car so that you have a straighter run into Ravazza. You'll really be stomping the brakes here, and the downhill entry tends to cause a number of drivers to overshoot this corner. You only have a tiny blip on the throttle before you tackle the second apex, which is much more important. Getting a proper run off of here will be critical to your current lap and the next one. Hopefully, though, you kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Imola.
Well, the countdown to green is brought to you by Sim Experience, team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering systems. By providing unparalleled realism and the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce provides a significant advantage to any sim racer. Can also make for an effective training tool for real-world drivers. If you'd like more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the GS5 seat, the Stage Series motion systems, and the SimVibe software, visit www.simexperience.com. No E in experience there. Remember the promo code. You get 5% off of the SimVibe software, SimXLion. And of course, we love our promo codes here in the Lionheart series. So make sure you punch that one in for our good friends at Sim Experience. Taking a look right now on the track, and we are about halfway through qualifying for the Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola. And right now, it looks like it is flying Ryan Otis on top of the board. A 135.4. He's put a half a second on Sage Karam, who you're taking a look at right there. Now as we move on to Aaron Morgan, who's currently P3, and there's a name we haven't heard a lot of here in the Lionheart Retro Series. Aaron Morgan sitting in the 3rd position right now. In fact, I'm trying to look through here, Nick, and I think this might be Aaron Morgan's debut in the series. So qualify 3rd in your debut in any Lionheart series. You must be doing something right. JP Winsheidel's in 4th right now. Lionel Callisto sitting in the 5th spot right now. Kind of a mixed bag up there at the top, and I don't see a couple of names. George Sandman, one of them, who I don't see even in the session. That could be a big deal. Why, you ask? Well, we don't have points graphics for you, but let's tell you a little bit. Let's take a look at Lionel right now. Let's tell you a little bit about the points. And it is Ryan Otis, your current provisional pole sitter, who's on top by about 52 points. That's just shy of one full race, if you count wins and bonus points, over the aforementioned and apparently presently not present George Sandman. I'm taking a look again just to make sure I didn't miss him. And no, he is not here. He was practicing earlier, so I don't know what happened to Sandman, but that is going to definitely shake things up. Sage Karam is 5 points back of Sandman. Mark Cohn, who's currently qualified 7th, is sitting down there in the 4th spot in points. Chris Lanini, the biggest mover from Pocono, up 7 spots, is 5th in points right now, and he is in a hornet's nest. Lanini leads Travis Jagerleiner and Paul Jenkins by 1, and then Dean Mall and Dustin Wardlow by 4, and then Chad Dalton by 10. I wouldn't want to be Chris Lanini right now. A lot of big drivers there behind him as well. Point standings right now for the championship sees Raven Motorsports Black on top of NLR Sim Racing. Interestingly, Raven still searching for the first win, the defending team champions. And the Rookie of the Year presented by our good friends at Butt Kicker sees Sage Karam lead George Sandman by 7 points, followed by Mark Cohn, Chad Dalton, and Paul Jenkins. Yes, I did say Sage Karam is a rookie. No, he did not get waived out of that due to his real-world experience. About 2 minutes left here in qualifying, and that means everybody has enough time to run another lap. As you take a look right now at Chad Dalton, who we just talked about. And there's Travis Jagerleiner, currently in 13th, usually pretty good on the road courses here as well. Nick, why don't you take us through some of the top stories we're going to be following here in this race? Actually, I got ahead of myself. Why don't you tell us about the weather and the series details?
Yeah, well, right now the weather out there, it's looking pretty warm. The air temperature not too bad. It's 84 degrees, 35% humidity, so I can't imagine those virtual fans are too uncomfortable here in, off the coast of the Adriatic here in Italy. Warm day, but 114 degrees on track. This is a track where you already, it's a track that's already notorious for grip being a major struggle. Off tracks getting racked up easily. There's a 25% incident limit out there. And that track temperature with a little bit of breeze as well, not going to help them at all. But yeah, like you said, we do have the race details as well to look at. And I already mentioned that it is a 25% incident cap limit. This is season 3, round 8 of 18. We're getting close to that halfway mark. 2 drop weeks. Hopefully none of the drivers have to use one today. But if road racing isn't your forte, it's definitely a track that might come and play, being a track that we've never seen here before in the Lionheart Retro Series. Setups are adjusted and fixed for these Lotus 79s, and cash and prizes in this series over $7,600. So a lot to fight for out there, as always.
Nick, thanks. Series details brought to you by our good friends at Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight, they're durable, made of breathable poly spandex. I know that's Soup's favorite part. Whether you're a kart racer or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control you need to reach victory lane. If you'd like more information, head to Minus 273's website. Learn about their gloves and apparel. It's www.minus273.biz, B-I-Z. Don't forget, promo codes LHRS will get you 25% off the order. Are you kidding me? 25% off. It's already a killer deal. Go check them out, minus273.biz. Here we go. We're ready for the Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola, and here are the qualifying results brought to you by our great friends at Butt Kicker. And you'll see it is Dave Walsh jumping up and stealing the pole from Ryan Otis, a 135.007. Otis on the outside of the front row at 135.15. Then it's Sage Karam and JP Winshittle. James Paulson, Joshua Gaiman make up row 3. Lana Callisto and Aaron Morgan in row 4. Finney and Juna in row 5 next to Dustin Wardlow. Shout out to his daughter Megan, who's watching tonight.
Right behind Wardlow there, it's going to be row number 6. Mark Cohen racing out of the Golden State in the 39 car. Chad Dalton's going to be starting alongside of him. They're going to be followed up by David Clymer and Travis Jagerleiner back in row 7, with Ryan Corrins right back there rounding out the top 15. Taft Baldwin's going to be starting alongside of him, with Chris Lanini being flanked by Scott Holmes in row number 9. Row number 10 going to go to David Altman and Eric Block.
So we move on to what will be 21st on back. Frank Beeser starts next to Mardi Gras, Dean Mall, Tyson Landis, and series founder George Anzaldo back there on row 12. Ron Hacker and Paul Jenkins in row 13, and it's Ken Hacker and Cody Eldred set to bring up the field here. 28 Lotus L79s. Eldred did not take a lap, so I'm looking to see if he will grid here or not. This is the Lionheart Retro Series presented by our friends at Butt Kicker, and we did just get word. George Sandman apparently taking a look at the broadcast. I knew he missed the IndyCar race last night too, because I kept waiting for him to be one of the cars to pass me. And it turns out George has the flu. So sorry to hear that, George, and we look forward to seeing you back out here on the track in the Lionheart Series. Hopefully turn around right next week and jump out here as the iRacing safety car is rolling. And it's Dave Walsh who put it on pole from the UK and Ireland. I think somebody told me Dave is Scottish, but I don't want to say that for sure, because if he's not, then oh boy, look out. Not the longest pace lap here, because this track is mighty long. iRacing did us a solid. We start pretty far down. Just like that. We're headed towards glory. Pace car pulls off. Dave Walsh waits and waits and waits, and he's on the loud pedal. Green is in the air, and this is Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola. Walsh clears Otis right away, and immediately Ryan Otis tucks in, trying to get that toe as they head down for our first chicane, and Otis looked high, looked low, won't make a move. Meanwhile, Winchittle and Karam go side by side and make it work. Hello. Karam into third as they sort things out behind him.
It was a great start actually for JP Winchittle, but Sage Karam really took advantage of being able to slip right behind him, get a draft there on the front stretch, and he is now up into the podium. Winchittle now having to hold off the likes of Joshua Gaiman behind him. All of this happening behind Dave Walsh, who continues to lead.
Cars make the march. Up the hill they go. This is one of my favorite parts of the section here. Track falls away, working their way down, and then back up again. And here comes the hold your breath moment of this race. Lap 1, up the hill through Variante Alta. First couple cars are through clean. So far, everybody's through pretty clean. Look at this. I'm so proud of these guys. Did have some issues at the back of the pack. I just picked up Paul Jenkins is down at the back of the pack and has some pretty heavy rear wing damage on that race car.
Oh yeah, and Mark Cohn actually has also just gone off. This is right before Ravazza, it looks like. He was on the outside of James Paulson in the 30 car. Looks like he might have just turned in a little bit and got tagged there.
I think Paulson actually kind of washes out.
Yeah,
Mark was turning in, but James kind of loses the nose of that car, and he already had some front wing damage. Looks like he might have clipped the apron just before that. No, I think he just lost the front end. That's going to be trouble for Mark, though. You get one of these L79s up in the air like that, and that could be pretty harmful to his chances. I know that's going to disappoint Mark. Mark is in the pits right now, having that race car looked at. Sponsored by Sam Maxwell. Really wanted to put on a good showing in honor of Sam's father here tonight. So hopefully Mark can at least get that car fixed up. And he's in the thick of the championship hunt here in the Retro Series as well. Currently in the 4th spot. Meanwhile, you're riding on board with Ryan Otis, who is right there behind Dave Walsh. Less than a half second back as they head up the hill for the second time. And you talked about it, Nick, before this race started. There are enough straightaways here where the draft can kind of come into play if you can make your car work and stay flat out through those sections. And I think as long as Ryan can stay within about a second of Dave, he might have a chance at some point here to set up a move. But he can't let Walsh get too far ahead.
Yeah, I even noticed that straightaway right there. Dave Walsh was weaving just a little bit between Aqua Mineral and Alta. That's not even a straightaway that I'd consider even, to be a major drafting section. He was still concerned. Now you see him going all the way down on that green apron, trying to break the draft back to Ryan Otis.
Boy, you talking about hugging the wall. Really... I don't know that I want to be that close to the wall on a road.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with these open-wheeled cars.
These cars are so unforgiving, too. Mark Cohn is back on the track, so we'll see how that car recovers. I'm going to go check in here real quick while I can. Keep an eye on the leaders and see how James Paulson made away. Paulson appears to still be rolling along. Ken Hacker just dropped, so apparently Hacker's race is over with as well. Look at this. That's JP Winchittle in the 4th spot. And that's like 6 other cars behind him that really want JP to move. I don't think JP is going to do that.
I don't think intentionally he's gonna for Joshua Gaiman right behind him. Gaiman is there, and then there's 3 cars more. Aaron Morgan, Dustin Wardlow, and Lionel Kalisto. Kalisto looking like he wanted to make a move there on Wardlow in front of him, but has to duck back in line.
L-Train thought about popping out there. He's had an up and down season. He's been awfully fast at times. He had some terrible luck. Actually, you could probably say the same about Wardlow as well. JP is going to take them down into Ravazza. Boy, really slowed up on the back half. And that's a corner you have to hit because you're pretty much flat out from Ravazza all the way down to Tamburello. And that is a long way. Gaiman's trying to set him up. Battle for P4. JP is going to take the inside. Gaiman's going to try the crossover here. Not able to do it yet. It's the big run, cuts back. Say JP is going to survive for now. Into Villeneuve. Now down towards Tosa.
Taking a look to the inside. Looks like he's going to have the room as well from Windschittle, but great run off the outside for Windschittle. He's going to keep that position.
JP did a great job here. Now this is a tricky spot because you get down into Piratella, and if you really have some big coconuts, if you know what I mean, you can try to make a move there. But if you miss, you're going to end everybody's night. Gaiman decided not to take the chance.
Yeah, right through there as well. A very famous place on iRacing for going off track, and actually you can get a slowdown penalty pretty easily through there as well. It might only be about a second, but it's still going to be enough to really set you back a little bit.
This track, and I ran it when the Lionheart IndyCar series came here originally. I love this track, I'll have to say that, but it is unforgiving when it comes to off tracks, and it's pretty brutal as well when it comes to things, as you just mentioned, like the slowdown penalties. So you got to really be careful and kind of balance the, how hard do I want to push and use the runoff versus will it come back to bite me? Because like we talked about in the pre-race, there is an incident limit here in the Lionheart series. And if you get too high on those incidents, you get kicked out. And that's no fun for anybody. James Paulson in. That is a pass-through penalty issued by race control for avoidable contact on the incident with Mark Cohn. Paulson serving that right now. Cohn has retired from this race in 27th position. Best wishes again to Sam Maxwell and his family. Grieve the loss of his father.
Looks like we have trouble here. Aaron Morgan has gone off. This was a battle for right back where we were watching.
Right in front of Wardlow.
Right at the exit of Tosa, yeah. And it looks like
gonna be
someone
it.
else went off. Was it Kalisto? Yeah, Kalisto actually ended up spinning and hitting the wall with this.
It was almost like synchronized.
Yeah, I don't even know if that was related because I don't think he was there to throw him off or anything.
No, you know what happened to Aaron at least is Gaiman had such a good corner and tried to get a run. And I don't know if maybe we'll see if we can maybe go on board after this look from Lionel. If we can look out the rear wing of Gaiman, I don't know if that's possible with Amjad, but Gaiman bobbles big time. And I think that's what throws Morgan off. I think he probably put a bunch of wheel in it trying to avoid Gaiman, and it just snapped around on him. See it there. Boy,
yeah,
Gaiman
exactly.
with a huge save for Gaiman. That could have been, you talk about bad. If he would have gone around and Morgan hit him, probably would have taken Wardlow with him. Turns out Lionel went off anyways. And I do think you're right, Nick. Lionel's appears to be unrelated. I think he just missed the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, Lionel almost saved it. I just went and looked again. Boy, that was tough. We had so many cars that were in that. It's going to open things up here. Maybe take a little bit of pressure off of JP's. Gaiman's going to have to find his rhythm again. And I know what that's like. Here's Lionel. He's able to keep it going. He hit the wall pretty good. So we'll have to see how that car performs. Morgan did retire. His car was trashed. I know what it's like. You make a mistake like that, and especially you see in your mirror, might have cost somebody else. That's something that can kind of frazzle you, throw you off for a little bit. So see how quickly Joshua Gaiman can kind of gather things back up and get back after JP.
Yeah, even if your car is pretty much fine, like I don't think Kalisto has too much damage from that. I think he just hit the outside of his tires. I mean, even if your car's fine, though, mentally, it's just hard to get that car back under control. Looks like he's doing a fine job of that right now, though.
Lionel only fell back to the 8th position, and he is about a second back of Chad Dalton, and he's got some room back to David Clymer, who's another second behind him. So Lionel has a chance to maybe, like you said, settle back in, feel out the car. And if he can go get Chad Dalton, he's suddenly not that bad off. He'd actually be right back where he started. In fact, because Morgan wrecked, Lionel came out of that net zero. He didn't gain or lose anything.
Yeah, it's not an easy task to be involved in a Lotus 79 accident and still have a net position loss of 0. Pretty impressive stuff there for Kalisto to bounce back like that. And he's really not too far away from Chad Dalton either. I think a couple solid laps, maybe a mistake from Dalton. I think he'd be right there with him.
Travis Jagerleiner, the graphics on board. One of 3 onboards in this race. Dustin Wardlow rolling the clipping that Apex on board. Ryan Otis with Plasma Tracks on board here with Travis Jagerleiner in the 11th spot. Travis, one of the more quiet drivers in the series. He's quietly 6th in points. 1 top 10 on the year, but he just doesn't make mistakes. Usually the instance he's in are from others. Not the best oval racer, and he'll tell you that. Does a good job kind of maximizing those opportunities, but he can throw one of these things around a road course. Right now, just outside the top 10.
Right now, having to hold off the likes of Taft Baldwin right behind him.
Taft, a teammate of Lionel. Love the paint schemes on those cars, by the way. Kind of woodwork looking side pods on the riding shotgun cars. Up to P4. Back to JP and Gaiman in a battle as they scream down the front straightaway and head towards Tamburello.
We saw a couple of laps ago, Gaiman tried to do this exact same thing. The crossover didn't quite work. Pulled up alongside of him in Tosa. We'll see if he does that again here. It was still last time Winchell getting the good run off.
Boy, Gaiman with all sorts of pressures. Gonna take a look. JP just outdrove him, and now here comes Wardlow closing in, smelling blood perhaps.
Yeah, Gaiman able to hold with him here. Let's see a handful of chicanes they come up on. And with this hard left turn, really having to slide the car in there. A lot of banking in that turn.
Oh, Wardlow got awfully sideways as we slide back to look at the 7th position. And Chad Dalton.
This is Lionel Kalisto getting around Chad Dalton here. We were wondering if he was going to fight his way back up to the field after going off track. He has done just that here.
And David Clymer has kind of joined that party as well, as you get another look at it. L-Train making the pass. Clymer's going to have an opportunity to make a run at Dalton in about another lap or so. Currently working lap number 9. We're going 41 tonight. Another battle for P4, Gaiman and JP. Boy, Gaiman drove it in deep, and JP missed the corner and slide jobs him through Tamburello. Woohoo!
I'm glad Josh Gaiman saw that coming, because I thought he was going to hold on his normal line there, but he backed off a little once he saw a little mistake from JP. Through Tosa again. One of my favorite hairpins, I think, in all of iRacing.
Boy, you see Gaiman slide the back end and did not lift. Sprint carded out of Tosa, and look at him taking a look. I told you. You go into Paratella and try to take a look like that. At some point, somebody's going to make a move in this race there, and it's either going to be the highlight of the race or it's going to be the highlight of the race, if you know what I mean. Another look here, just showing his nose. And that's more so, I think, just trying to get JP to be mirror driving and make a mistake, which he doesn't do. Wardlow ran a little wide coming out of Alta.
Yeah, if he takes a peek down there, that might force Winchell to look in his mirrors, maybe try to cover him off a little bit, and by then he's been thrown off his racing line completely through there and might easily make a mistake. But he is looking pretty consistent right now.
Wardlow really nailed Ravazza, and then it sounded like he might have missed a gear there. Might just be the iRacing deal. Every time he shifts, I'm hearing that. So Wardlow had what looked like a good run, but boy, that draft, look at Gaiman just suck up on JP. Not close enough to make a move. This is easily the best battle on the track right now, folks. We don't want to throw you off. There's some good racing going on deeper in the field. You're not missing anything up front. Dave Walsh has a 1.6 second lead on Ryan Otis. He has led every lap of this one as we currently work lap number 10 of 41. Sage Karam sits about 5 seconds back of Otis and 10 seconds ahead of these guys. So Sage at this point is on a don't make a mistake and I finish third mission. And right now the battle is for P4. And the pit window is technically open. You can run somewhere. They're saying around 18 laps is the maximum stint, which means you need 2 stops. So the window really open lap 5 or 6, but we haven't seen anybody of note take advantage of that to this point. So far, the only cars that have hit pit road are James Paulson on a drive-through penalty, Ron Hacker and Ryan Corns, and Gaiman gets awfully sideways. Wardlow kind of pedaled it, but he's got a big run down the hill. I think Dustin maybe thinking long play, Gaiman bobbles again, and Wardlow had to jump on the binders. If he gets a good run off here, he's going to have a good chance of making a move.
Yeah, that created a big check up there for Wardlow, and Wardlow now, he's not going to be able to get around him, but he's right in that draft, and we've seen him closing on the front stretch a couple of times before. This is going to be his best opportunity in a while.
Will he peek out? Nope. Again, long play. Methodical, calculated driver is Dustin Wardlow. Plenty of speed, but he's not one to just throw it in there and try to make something stick. Come through Villeneuve and down towards Tosa. Look at Wardlow, close the gap, and he got into him. Yow.
It was a big run, a lot of momentum for Wardlow, and apparently too much on that head of steam. Got it right into the back, into the gearbox there for Josh Gaiman, but it doesn't seem to have harmed him much. Now Wardlow's going to take a peek to the inside.
Whoa. Boy, Minerali make moves like that. Dave Walsh.
Oh, Dave Walsh.
Dave Walsh made a mistake.
This is up in Variante Alta. Hit the curbs, it looks like.
Oh, boy. That changes everything. Oh, he high-centered it. Oh, yeah, that's just, he got too much of the curbs. And Ryan had kind of closed the gap, but not much. Boy, that's one of those deals where I hope Dave doesn't have a butt kicker. I mean, I hope he does. Support our sponsors. But, boy, if he had a butt kicker, that might have thrown him out of the seat.
Yeah, I hope he's wearing a seatbelt at least or something, because that is, looks like he's got a little bit of front end damage as well. He clobbered those curbs.
It did tweak the wing for sure. Now you wonder about suspension, which in this car can most definitely be tweaked by something like that. In the Indy cars, a lot more forgiving. The other series that we run here in Lionheart, the Lionheart IndyCar series, presented by our good friends over at First Medical Equipment. But in the Retro series, presented by our friends at Butt Kicker, this car is unforgiving on stuff like that. So we'll have to see how Dave Walsh's pace is. Either way, Dave is 5 seconds back of Ryan Otis now, and Sage Karam now kind of within striking distance. Meanwhile, battle for P5. Wardlow got Gaiman finally. And he did it the hard way, coming out of Alta.
This was a fantastic run, and a lap prior we saw him have a good run through this corner as well, so no surprise to see him strong here, but this strong, that takes a lot of talent.
I actually lost my place on the track. It was coming into Tosa, and Gaiman got a little wide, and Wardlow said thank you very much.
Oh, well, Wardlow's just gone wide, actually, and as we come back live, Gaiman has the position once again.
And that happened in Alta. Boy, and Wardlow did kind of the exact opposite of Walsh. Instead of clipping the corner too tight, he totally missed the first half of the apex. And meanwhile, boy, you talk about a hero's run. Guess who's back? Right behind Wardlow. As those two battle into the corner, here comes Lionel Callisto again. Trying to pull the Danny Sullivan. Spin and finish fourth. It's not really how it went, right? I think he won that race.
I can report as well, Dave Walsh is actually taken to the pits. Looks like getting damage repaired, but might fall into the window nicely for him. He's definitely going to lose some spots, though, with all of that repair. Pretty extended stay in the box.
He had a lot of damage as
Yeah.
Lionel takes a look at Wardlow. I thought that was going to be the moment. Oh, man, I've been waiting for that all night. Somebody to take a shot into Paratella there, and I thought that was going to be it. Boy, and Wardlow got a huge run on Gaiman down into Minerali, and Lionel goes wide. And look at Gaiman throwing the block as they head up towards Alta. That's not really a passing zone.
Not a place I expected to be a passing zone, but we've seen it 2 or 3 times now. Someone take a look there.
Rolling back to 10th. Actually 9th with Taft Baldwin leading Travis Jägerleiner. Finian right there as well. 3-car battle all within a second. I could tell you David Walsh's race is just about over. In fact, I think he might even be considering retiring. He has been on pit road for 1 minute and 45 seconds repairing that car. Ron Hacker, it appears, has also dropped from the race. He's been on pit road for 4 laps now. Oh, you talk about heartbreak for Dave Walsh. Picked up the pole. Looked so strong. And then to have that happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough break for sure. Had a lot of pace. That lead, like we said earlier, handed over to Ryan Otis. He's doing a great job out there. I'm sure that put him on the edge of his seat a little bit. He knows how easy it is to make a mistake, especially when you're out front, just getting into a rhythm like that. But he's got a big lead, almost 9 seconds now over Sage Karam in second.
Otis coming up on Frank Bieser. This will be the first lapped car of the race that is not incident related, although Bieser has plenty of front wing damage from an incident at some point and is awfully slow down the straightaway here. Otis just going to blow by him. Frank goes a lap down, currently running in the 23rd spot after starting 21st. Biggest mover so far in this one? Well, it's a few people. Taft Baldwin up 7 spots. David Altman's up 7. So is Marty Gras Mall and Tyson Landis. And heck, even Paul Jenkins and Cody Eldred all up 7 spots. Somebody make a move. Take that crown away. Close to expect to see pit stops here as we look at the 10th. Finney and DeCuna goes around Jägerleiner into 10th. Boy, Taft Baldwin kind of checked out there, so I don't know if Travis was holding them up or made a mistake.
Yeah, and that's a spot that Jägerleiner just got into, so.
And Finian, speaking of front wing damage.
Yeah, that's all jacked up on the left side.
Finian's front wing looks like it just left the county fair. And somehow he's driving the wheels off that thing. Oh, Taft Baldwin. Hang on to it, brother. Yowzers.
A little bit of a
Looked like he
slide.
was bull ride in there or something.
Also at the county fair.
Yeah, right? He and Finian went to the same spot. Man, that's a heck of a save. That's the one thing I do love about this car. It's pretty forgiving when you get it hung out like that. A lot harder on an oval. Pretty forgiving on a road course if your hands are quick. But makes for some spectacular moments, that's for sure.
In this lap, Finney and DeCuna has actually closed that gap to Taft, it looks like, a little bit, despite that front wing damage.
I'm wondering, this is where I think Finian's going to get burned. He's going to have no straightaway speed, I think, with that front wing.
Yeah. And you can see it there. Baldwin just pulling away a little bit. Thankfully, I mean, of all road courses to go to and have front wing damage, there are worse ones. in terms of straightaways like that.
Road America. Just had to throw it out there.
Wouldn't be fun to climb up the hill, no.
Been the victim of that before. It is, it makes for a long night.
I think there's another road course in Italy that Dagunia is pretty happy we're not at tonight as well.
We're joined early here in the booth, Nick, by somebody who didn't want to be here, and Dave Walsh, our most recent retiree in the 24 spot. Out of this one, Dave, I'll start with the congratulations on the pole. You looked awfully strong early on and then got bit by Alta. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I had hit that corner pretty much perfect every lap. It was the only place I was actually quicker than Ryan. He was even or quicker everywhere else, and then I'd gain 2 or 3 tenths every lap in that corner. And I just went in, I just took way too much curb on the right, and it must have broken, it broke more than the front wing because it was 2 minutes of repairs, and it was horrible in the straights after it. So I don't know what it broke, but it broke a lot of the car. So and I'm not in the championship either, so I'm not, I haven't run every race this season. I'm pretty new to the series, so there's no point in me running 3 seconds off pace a lap down.
We do have a look here as Lionel Callisto gets around Wardlow and into the 5th spot. Dave, what was the key? You found so much speed. Actually, it's funny, Dustin Wardlow is a really good friend of mine. We live in the same town here in Bakersfield, California, and he was messaging me earlier. He called you an alien in practice. That's how quick he thought you were. What was the key to getting around here? You and Ryan Otis really seem to have the field covered.
Yeah, I only bought this track a couple of days ago, specifically for this race, but I mean,
Oh, don't tell everybody that. Cars are breaking all over.
I've seen plenty of races here, and I've seen cars just going over the curbs so much. So, like, there's some sausage curbs most of the track you just have to stay away from. But then the chicane where I ended up wrecking it, I was not taking much curb on the right and then just being all over the curb on the left. And that seemed to be the quickest way through it. That seemed to be the best way I could do it. And I think I was doing it right whenever I got it right. And then when I get it wrong, I mean, you get it really wrong. You can't just get a bit loose there or anything like that. Even if you run wide, it's a slowdown. So yeah, it's just a very unforgiving corner.
Lead change on lap 18. Ryan Otis is into the pits, and here comes a bunch of cars with them. Lionel Callisto, Josh Gaiman in as well. Sage Karam to the lead, picks up a bonus point for that, and Dave will let you go. We're sorry about your luck. It was fun to watch you out in front there earlier. I'll apologize. You didn't get much TV time. You got TV time on lap 1, and then when you wrecked, because you were just so smooth that everybody else was kind of rolling away from you there. But congratulations on the run that you had. Sorry about the way that it ended, though. We look forward to seeing you at the next race.
Yeah, thanks. I'll hopefully be back here in the next race for a better reason.
Alrighty, that's Dave Walsh, your pole sitter tonight out of this race early. Taft Baldwin just had a big off right in front of Finian, which I'm trying to figure out actually how Taft got around Finian, because I missed that while you're talking to Dave. So I guess Finian had an issue first, and people are all over the place. Ryan Otis pops back out behind David Clymer. Total time on pit lane for Otis, 41.7 seconds, including a blistering stop, 6.8. That tells me he did not take tires, I think, as to where JP and Gaiman might have, as their stops were both about a second plus longer. Either that or Otis went a little short on fuel to maybe try to open it up. I'm not really sure why he would do that. And then maybe he's going to short pit later on, but we'll have to see here. Sage Karam, meanwhile, is running another lap. So, I hate to say it, because Soup all the time says that the good friends at Lionheart lie to him about fuel numbers, but it appears they've lied to him about fuel numbers. Because I was told the max was 18, and here's Sage Karam saying, I'll run 3 more miles. What do I got to lose? Wardlow in. The Candyman brings that towards Candy's number 9 car for Raven Motorsports down pit road. And boy, you watch that car come down pit road and you think to yourself, that's got to be a lonely feeling. Pit road here pretty long and awfully slow. Take a look right now on what is a battle for position in P3. That's Dalton ahead of Clymer. Otis is right behind them and is going to probably have company for them here pretty soon. Wardlow out of his stall. See how this all cycles through. Wardlow comes out. He's on the loud pedal. George Anzaldo just went by, is yet to pit. Taft Baldwin comes out behind Wardlow. So Wardlow kind of on his own right now as far as cars that he's battling for position. Back up to your leader, Sage Karam. On to the pit straight. Will this be the lap he ducks in? Yes, it will. Sage Karam on pit road. Here comes your leader.
Yeah, I think he pretty much had to jump into the pits there. I can't imagine he was able to make it 3 more miles after that. And like you said, very long pit road here. It basically spans the entire straightaway. And a very slow one, down to 37 miles an hour.
Sage Karam, veteran of the Indianapolis 500 now, coming off of a 19th place finish in that race from Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. His 6th Indianapolis 500. A career best finish of 9th his rookie year. Karam in and out. 9.1 on the stop for Sage. That is a long pit stop. Dalton, Kalisto, Finian all on pit road. There's Lionel popping out. Boy, his stop a full second quicker than Wardlow. That could be huge as everybody cycles around. In fact, Lionel pops out and Wardlow not even in the picture.
Really slow in the lane there for Wardlow.
Yeah, 9-second difference on pit road. That's interesting. Wonder if maybe he thought he didn't have a stall or missed his stall maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the deal
slid
is.
his box a little bit. Maybe couldn't get it squared up enough. A couple of inches off left or right, had to back it up.
Cycling back out front. Still waiting on a couple of cars to pit. David Clymer, Travis Yeager-Leonard, Mardi Gras Mall, Tyson Landis have all yet to pit. George Anzaldo is yet to pit. Cody Eldred just hit pit road. Here's Yeager-Leonard. And despite those cars not pitting, Ryan Otis is the leader. And he's the leader by quite a bit. Clymer onto pit road. Yeager-Leonard brings it off the final corner and also hits the pits. So that is the ultimate distance. It is just short of the 21st lap that everybody has to hit pit road, it appears.
Just about halfway through this race, Otis had a big lead before he came into the pits, and looks like it's going to be even bigger now.
Well, I think what's going to be interesting for some of these cars, and I don't know if it'll matter because like Otis, for instance, made up the time, but guys like Sage and JP did not. You could almost make it from here if you consider that we're going 20 on to 21, and we had to run not all of, but part of a pace lap at the start of this race.
Right.
It's going to be awfully interesting to see if somebody says, I'm going for one stop. And if it's somebody like Yeager-Leonard who's got some speed, that could be fun to watch. David Clymer. David Clymer's all the way up there in P7 ahead of Wardlow now. So if David Clymer can make this a one-stop race, I think he's going to be on the podium, which is a crazy strategy if it works off. I don't know anybody who said this is a one-stop race before this event, but we got 4 or 5 cars that I think are at least going to take a shot at it. Might as well at this point, unless it's just so bad. You know, if you go on to the final lap and you're almost a whole lap short, that's not going to work. But if you can get it close, might as well take a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're back down in the mid-pack, and the best you're going to finish anyway is, you know, 7th or 8th or something, I'd take a shot at it, I think. You don't have to run extremely fast either. You can focus. You can take this stint here and focus on saving fuel.
And you think about where you're at in points too, Nick. You know, somebody like David Clymer. David Clymer is 14th in points, and he started every race. So that's somebody who's not thinking championship points right now. He's thinking swing for the fences. Like, that's how you get back into the championship hunt if you're in 14th place a third of the way through the year. you swing for the fences and you hit a home run. As we got a battle right now here for position between Gaiman and Win Scheidel. Boy, these two.
Once again.
Somebody take a picture of this and send it to both. Have them autograph it. Fond memories from Imola.
You could just about send them 41 pictures, one from each lap. That's
No
they've
kidding.
been right together the most of the race.
No kidding. When they are really using up the curbs too, like more than I would want to. You know, we just heard from David Walsh about how there's some corners where you can really eat the curbs and some where you can't. I wouldn't want to find out which one is you can't.
Hopefully they don't find out the hard way. Right now they are flirting with disaster, it looks
It
like.
has been fun.
Yeah. Gaiman trying to gain on him once again here. Looks like he's using the curbs. Well, I was going to say a little bit less, but then they went through there and he's climbing up there as well.
We got to talk to these two. We got to get them some sponsors. They've had more TV time tonight than our leaders have, and one of them's got the club logo on it, and the other one, Windshindle's got double clutch, which if it's a company, I need to know more, but I'm going to guess that's a name of one of his racing teams. Yeah, get these two some sponsors.
Well,
Yeah,
to be fair, if you're going to put any club logo on there, I think Pennsylvania is the one to do it for.
Oh, really? Are you being a bit biased there?
No, not at all.
I got no qualms with Pennsylvania. Okay. Grandparents are from Peckville, if you're familiar.
I don't think I am. I'm going to
Wow,
have to
look
Google
at
map
that.
it. Yeah,
Peckville, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Peckville's about the size of my bedroom. So.
Oh my gosh, it's even close to me. How
is it?
Wow. I mean, it's not super far, but man.
It's close to Scranton Wilkes-Barre, right?
Yeah.
See? I know. I haven't been there since I was 4, but Gamja just gave us props if I heard that right. Pennsylvania geography lesson. That's what you get when you tune into the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker. Educational Thursday. Do your homework, kids.
We were at Pocono last week in the Lionheart Retro Series, and we're
you
talking
were on the
more
broadcast, right? Holy cow.
I know, yeah.
That was probably a disaster. You telling people where to eat around the track. Oh, that's a good point. You should have called Jody and put him in the booth. Actually, Jody probably would have loved that. Could have talked about the wrestling days. People don't know about the Karam family. That is a first-class wrestling, Olympic-style wrestling family right there, too. Eric Block started this race or just left the session? Eric Block did start this race, and he has left the session in 23rd spot. So we have 22 cars remaining with just under 18 laps to go in the Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola. And we're literally not ever going to take the camera off of these two because it's not worth it. Somebody better tell Paul Jenkins he needs to get out of the way. That's not what they were thinking. Get out of the way and almost crash into us are two different things, Paul. Who needs to change their Nomex?
We also have a little bit of a battle back a little further, and it looks like 12th place. David Altman trying to chase down Scott Holmes. They run up through Tosa right now.
Chris Lanini is kind of in that battle as well. It's not quite there, but he's within striking distance if either Holmes or Altman were to make a mistake. Scott Holmes, the sim experienced driver.
Yeah, these are the drivers back here that, I mean, yeah, if you stopped later on that first stint, why not try to stretch it a little bit further? Worst case scenario, you got to come in with about 1 to go, and I think by then we'll have so many cars, maybe a lap down or close to it. I don't know if that would hurt him too much. I'm always a fan of the oddball strategy, though, so I would probably not be a good crew chief.
David Altman making a move. Look at this. Oh, boy. Scott Holmes said, all right. All righty. You're going to make that move. Have at it, kid. David rocking the Prestige Realty Group logo on the side of that car. Ryan Otis back up front. 21 seconds ahead of Sage Karam. Hit your marks, bring it home. 16 laps left. And Ryan Otis pretty much has this one locked up already, barring a mistake on his end. Sage pretty much has P2 locked up, I think. Well, actually, again, the Sage is kind of in the twilight zone right here as far as pit stops go. If we look back, David Clymer's the first car I'm keeping an eye on the can I make it on just one stop strategy. And right now, David Clymer is 31 seconds behind Sage. Pit lane time, all in all, is about 40 seconds. Fastest car on those pit stops is actually Chris Lanini at 38.8. Now remember, that doesn't account the time getting into pit road. It only clicks once you hit the cone. But you know, Chris is the only car in the 30s. We'll call it 40 seconds for pit lane time. Best case scenario. Means right now, Sage got to find about 9 more seconds if David Clymer can, in fact, make this a one-stop race. I'm still not real sure he can, but man, am I interested to find out. Also, somebody's really got to talk to David Clymer and Chad Dalton. Boy, do those race cars look awfully familiar. Similar, I should say.
Some good fuel saving opportunities for these two as well right now. Riding behind, well, Dalton's actually riding behind Frank Beazer a lap down, but especially for David Clymer riding behind them both right now. On those straightaways, might be able to float off the pedal a little bit. They're really getting held up, actually.
David Clymer with 4 top 10s in his 7 starts. His rookie year here in the Lionheart Retro Series. Career best finish of 7th, which is where he runs right now. Chad Dalton in the thick of that Rookie of the Year battle. Career best finish of 5th, so he's 1 spot shy of that. Pair of 5th place finishes here in his first season in the Retro Series, and he has been one of the cleanest drivers, averaging just a little over 2 incidents per race this year. On board with Dalton, looking back at Clymer, that sim pit car for Clymer. The IRTMteam.com entry for iRacing today. And Chad Dalton. .14.5 laps remaining in this one. Hey, what do you say we pay some bills and remind you the Lionheart Retro Series is presented by our great friends at Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass. They produce a haptic immersion. Powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that missing driver to car connection. It brings more realism and immersion to your online racing sessions. See all the family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION25, LION25, and you'll get 25% off your order. I'm telling you, folks, we have the best partners in the Lionheart series. 25% off your order. Crikey, take advantage of that. Taft, Baldwin, and Finian still going at it.
Yeah, Baldwin actually just getting around Finney and DeCunha right there. That might not last for long, though. Dacuna's got a big run. Despite all that front wing damage we talked about earlier, here he comes on the outside.
Listen, I want
Oh, a little bit of
Finian's
contact
secret.
almost.
How does Finian do it? That's what I want to know. The front of that car looks like it went head-to-head with the bull Taft Baldwin was riding earlier in this race.
You can tell these drivers are starting to pick up the pace. So Baldwin going wide a little bit. That's really going to allow Dacuna to close in, but is he going to take a look? He takes the look, gets up alongside of him. Not much room out there.
Oh, outside,
Just
clear.
about making it work, it looks like. Wow.
I told you somebody was going to make a move there, didn't I?
On the outside, though.
On the outside. Finian made it work. Just be watching the broadcast. Man, I got to make Galvin look good. Can't tell me somebody's going to make a move and then nobody sends it. It was a Brian Yazik special right there.
Pretty calm elsewhere on track, it looks like right now.
Taking a look down through the standings here, and we did talk about incident count and how much that could affect things as far as not only penalties but also the opportunity or possibilities of being disqualified for too many incidents because of the off tracks here. And right now, Finian Dacuna actually is the only car that's even had what I would call a substantial amount. He has 8 incidents so far, so he's not even in danger necessarily. However, I will say there's only a couple of cars, in fact 4, that have had a clean race so far, and you do get a bonus point for that. One of them is Ryan Corns, and then Chad Dalton and David Clymer have both run incident-free, even though they're running so close to each other. And JP Winshittle up there in the 3rd spot, also incident-free so far. So even Ryan Otis and Sage Karam both have 1 incident point for going off. That is of note because Ryan Otis was the leader coming into this race for the cleanest driver award. Just 11 incident points so far, so that'll be 12. And that is a bonus point he will not get. Same for Karam, however. Again, pretty much everybody at this point is going to be bonus point free, so to speak, the way this race is playing out. Otis out in front, up to 27 seconds on the lead over Sage Karam. An iconic paint scheme for the butt kicker and graphics. And Lionel Callisto is on pit road. They'll train with 12 laps to go. Riding Shotgun Motorsports 97 car.
He was in 5th, it looks like, as well. So pretty substantial front runner here late in the race.
Should be pretty good as far as a quick stop goes for fuel here. Taft Baldwin, his teammate, followed him in the 05 car. Don't mess with Texas riding shotgun car. Callisto out. Ryan Otis, your leader on pit road. We'll take an eye at the Raven Motorsports silver driver and watch his pit stop.
Hands the lead over to Sage Karam as well. We saw him stay out longer than anyone on that first stint.
Boy, he's so far ahead of Sage that Sage just
now. Yeah.
Right now. Yows.
That's got to feel good to see him go by late in his pit stop.
The pit road here is just so long. Otis just popping out, and he's going to do so in between Ryan Corns and his teammate, James Paulson, who will lay off right away. Otis will get a chance to run down the Canadian Corns, who's currently in the 17th position, and as I mentioned, is one of those drivers having an incident-free race so far, so I'm going to guess that Ryan Corns and then Iron and Wood entry is not going to push Otis too hard. JP Winshittle and Josh Gaiman followed each other into pit road. Boy, do they plan that? Look at this battle off. Gaiman almost had a chance to come around JP, which tells me Gaiman took probably 1 click less on fuel. That'll be fun to watch. Did one overfill or did one cut it close? I don't know. Off pit road they come. Both pop out. Got to make sure you don't come over that line right in front of Paul Jenkins, and then Lanini under attack from Scott Holmes, or perhaps attacking. I'm not sure who was in what spot. Oh, and Chris goes off and almost wrecks it. Nice save by Chris Lanini there.
Yeah, it looks like Lanini currently chasing down Scott Holmes. Cody Eldred's back there as well. He's in the battle with Paul Jenkins, a couple cars ahead for 21st.
Powder blue Camart car for Lanini. Firefly Racing. Couple of powder blue cars there with Holmes in front of them. That Lionel that's right behind, no, it's Eldred. Lionel a little farther back. That would be for position, although, again, Lionel's already pitted. Lanini has not.
Just a little bit ahead of him, Josh Gaiman has already begun to close in quite significantly on JP Winchittle after they came out of the pits. JP got a little bit of an advantage leaving the pits earlier, but that draft has really allowed Gaiman to close right back in.
That is a battle for the final podium spot in theory. The theory there is that David Clymer cannot go the distance.
Yeah,
Travis Jagerlander, for that matter, as well, is also in front of them. But if you let everybody cycle through, theoretically, we're looking at a battle for the final podium spot. Still a long way to go in this race. 10 laps left. Whoa! Winchittle caught the curb.
Surprised he kept that position. Hopefully he didn't gain any suspension damage. We've seen that before in this race.
Well, I thought Gaiman really did a fantastic job there of, kind of lifting and saying, could have taken a shot, but still a lot of race left.
Saw Gaiman get a little squirrely out of Tamburello as well. Up onto the runoff. Not too much runoff at this track. A little bit of AstroTurf here and there.
Chris Lanini just popped off pit road right behind Sage Karam, so for the time being, Lanini a lap down and Sage takes another lap. Looks like Karam's strategy at this point is going to be maybe run it dry and get the shortest pit stop possible. Although, if you know how much fuel you need, you could really take that stop whenever you want as far as the shortest stop possible theory. But if you run it dry, that's more laps that you get on light fuel versus coming in now where you're just going to make the car heavier again. Sage may be using this opportunity out in front and with lighter fuel to try to gap David Clymer. I don't know if he's looked over just scoring that much to realize that there's a couple cars that might try to make this on one stop. Sage is going to need to gap them. Right now, Sage is 38 seconds ahead of Clymer, and we said you're looking at about 40 seconds on pit road for a full stop. Sage also not going to need a full stop. Right now, he would probably pop out of the pit road and be wheel-to-wheel with David Clymer. Again, still 8 laps to go. A lot of things could change. Sage brings it around to the final section and will not pit here. Looking at Dustin Wardlow. And there's a look at Karam. Back up in the lead. We were looking at Wardlow, who is slotted in the 3rd spot right now, with Clymer right behind him. Second back. Boy, Clymer has spent a lot of time behind cars on this run too, so that could, I would imagine, only help with his potential fuel-saving efforts, Nick.
Yeah, he's going to be able to lift off there on the front stretch and a couple of the downhill sections as well, pretty significantly in all that slipstream. Definitely not having to use as much throttle, not having to burn as much gas as all of the other front runners.
Taking a look at 17th spot. Ryan Corns. James Paulson. Paulson trying to salvage everything here after, you got to figure, he picked up some damage on that contact with Mark Cohn on lap 2 or 3, and then he had the drive-through penalty as a result of that contact.
Well, there he comes.
James Paulson is our driver profile for this race. 19 career starts for Paulson in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker. His first start was actually the series debut. Homestead Season 1. Best race finish ever is 6th. Still looking for that first top 5. Never run a full season in the Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker. Obviously with just 19 starts. James, a driver who's had a lot of speed, but also run into a lot of issues. Being able to translate that into results. Of course, his teammates with Ryan Otis, and he's on that vaunted Raven Motorsports team with Wardlow and Jaegerleiner, George Anzaldo, Ron Hacker, team I was fortunate enough to be a part of last year that won the Retro Series championship. Sam Ryman was on that team last year as well. Fun group of guys. Awfully talented group of guys as well. P7, Hornet's Nest. Hey, guess who? JP and Gaiman. Here they go again.
This is right behind the lap car of Frank Beezer as well. He's currently riding up in 20th position. Not really battling anyone. Oh, getting very close though. Windschittle off the corner. They're going to have to dive it down deep into Tosa. Windschittle a little off the apex there. That almost allowed Gaiman to get to his inside. He backed off of it a little bit.
Boy, Gaiman. Gaiman going to try to make it stick. Gaiman's going to try to make it stick. Windschittle on the outside. Look at that. Through Parentella side by side. Still down to Minerali. Gaiman finally gets JP. A move that was 35 and a half laps in the making. And Josh Gaiman is finally around JP Windschittle. And then immediately proceeds to jump both of the corners in Alta and allow JP to kind of hang with him right there. Man, there's something that tells me this is not over.
Yeah, that's exactly the question I was about to ask is Windschittle going to be able to answer? Hopefully he doesn't need 35 laps to make it happen because he's not going to get them. But can he do it in 6? He sticks right with him through Tamburello. Very similar scenery here with these two, only this time it is flipped.
Meanwhile, out in front, Sage Karam's lead is shrinking ever so slightly over Ryan Otis. Of course, Sage still has not pit. And if it's anything like last time, Sage is just about to hit his quote-unquote pit window. Boy, and I tell you what, we came away from that battle, but I wonder if Amjad can go back up to Alta and JP Windschittle and Josh Gaiman this past lap through, because the second we pulled away, JP totally missed the first corner like David Walsh and went airborne. Somehow saved it, but you wonder if it hurt the car. Take a look at this.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not a view you want. You could see it actually did tweak the front wing.
Yeah, definitely.
And you remember what David Walsh said is that, you know, it hurt a lot more than the front wing for me. You wonder if JP's got those same problems now.
And that was in the exact same turn, too. Exact same curve.
Everything about it was the same
Yeah.
except for the end result. That could have been very ugly.
All happening behind the leaders. Like you said, Karam, whose lead has shrunk a little bit. You saw just a moment ago the lap time comparison. He's lost about anywhere from a tenth to a full second on a single lap in the last half dozen or so.
Boy, and you talk about some cars that are maybe fuel saving. David Clymer, 2.5, 3.5 seconds actually off the pace of Ryan Otis right now. You think he's not trying to make it on one stop? Dustin Wardlow's in, out of P3. That means Clymer's going to move up. Dustin Wardlow on pit road, and David Clymer will come down the pit straight and move on to the podium for now. This should be a quick stop for Wardlow.
Yeah, it should be very quick. You should only need a splash here to make it a couple more laps. But like I said before, too, for someone like David Clymer, not necessarily going for the the grand slam here. Maybe not going for the win, but definitely a better finishing position than he would have had.
Take a
had he
swing.
not done this strategy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Double off the wall is better than a bunt single. Dustin Wardlow's stop time, 5.5 seconds. His pit road time, 40.3, and he is going to come out behind Lionel Callisto. By a pretty heavy amount.
Sage Karam is in.
Leader on pit road. Ryan Otis goes by. So Otis back to the front. Now here's the battle to watch, because if he is trying to make it on one stop, can David Clymer get around Sage Karam? And that Clymer is just coming out of Alta. I don't think there's any way. Sage is already away. Clymer's not even down into Ravazza yet, so Sage Karam will easily hold on to P2. Putting in those qual laps paid off, and Clymer's kind of in super saving mode here. Car behind him is George Anzaldo as Finney and Acuna brings it in. P4 on pit road. And Travis Jagerlener will go by. Jagerlener pitted on the same lap as Clymer. It would be in position to steal fourth place right now if he can make it work. Josh Gaiman and JP Winchittle are not in fuel-saving mode right now and are doing their darndest to run down Jagerlener and Clymer and put the pressure on. Just under 3 laps remaining in the Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola.
Yeah, it's about 7.5, 8 miles left for them. That's still a lot of ground, a lot of mileage to try to save.
And you're in that position too of how much do I save versus how much do I want fourth instead of fifth or sixth. We should mention Sam Maxwell Customs, sponsor of this race for nearly a decade. Sam Maxwell Customs has taken pride in customizing racing wheels for the sim racing enthusiast. Each order built with precision and craftsmanship. It ensures the highest quality in sim racing wheels and accessories. A steering wheel is the primary interface for sim drivers. Why wouldn't you want the best? Well, you can get it at sammaxwellcustoms.com. Sage Karam back on pit road. You have a penalty?
Ooh, this might very well be. Last week, Pocono had the same penalty if it is driving through too many pit stalls. He is on that curved, one of those curvy bits of pit road. It might be easier to clip an extra box there. Not too sure.
I'm going to see if I can get an update.
It's a heartbreaking finish, though, for Sage. Gonna knock him off the podium back to 8th. Oof. So that makes David Clymer's efforts one spot
Even
more important.
Right. I just checked with race control. David Cordy, the head of race control for the Lionheart Racing Series, along with Pierre Dagley across the board. David Cordy says he does not know why Sage came back in. His guess would be ours, which was he didn't take enough fuel, I guess. Or I was there, he got a penalty. Yeah, there you go. So then he might have got a sim penalty for speeding on pit road, but it was not too many pit stalls. And so now we'll get to watch Sage and see if he can make up some ground here in the last couple of laps. Although he's got a lot of ground to make up to Dustin Wardlow. White flag in the air for Ryan Otis. David Clymer's in. David Clymer couldn't make it. Travis Jagerlener is out, though. Travis Jagerlener's going to try to make this work, and Josh Gaiman has got around it, but JP has not. So Ryan Otis, who's already halfway done with the final lap, on a Thursday evening cruise down the hill. Somebody tell Ryan to hurry up. We got fuel strategy to watch, Ryan. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Ryan. Bask in this one. Ryan Otis comes off the final corner and down the pit straight and will bring it home. For the first time in 2019, Ryan Otis is a winner in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Bud Kicker and will extend his championship points lead. All right, now we can go back and take a look at P2 and 3 and 4. And Josh Gaiman currently in P2. Whoa, boy. George Anzaldo had a little moment there. Travis Jagerlener trying to hold off JP Winschittle and trying to stretch the fuel as they come down the hill. One final time.
Jagerlener's to that point where it's just about downhill for him now.
He's got JP right there. The problem is that's a long coast from here. He's got to at least get through Ravazza and on the throttle or he won't make it to the stripe. Out of the final corner, Joshua Gaiman's going to pick up a career best second place. Travis Jagerlener, teach me how to save fuel, son, comes home with a remarkable podium finish just ahead of JP Winschittle. And Lionel Callisto, you talk about the drive of the race. L-Train recovers from spinning into the wall to finish in the 5th position. The Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, for Dwarves Candy, brings it home in 6th. I'll take some peanut butter chews for that one. Sage Karam, Heartbreak in 7th. Chad Dalton picks up 8th, and David Clymer, who had to pit, comes home in the 9th spot just ahead of Finian DeCunha. Rest of the field cycling through here. We'll stick with them. Taft Baldwin comes across. Taft Baldwin, the final car on the lead lap. 11 cars on the lead lap of this one. Ryan Otis, say, look, he's already back around. He ran a whole nother lap. Come celebrate, young man. The Oregon driver parks it in victory lane in Imola. We'll talk to him when we return. This is the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Bud Kicker on the iRacing Esports Network.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
Welcome back to the Sam Maxwell Customs Grand Prix of Imola, and this is the post-race show brought to you by our excellent friends at Plasma Tracks. I tell you what, you have a racing fan in your family and you've ever been thinking to yourself, like, golly, I want to find just the darndest, coolest thing I ever could to give them for a present. I've got the company for you. Struggling to find that something for that person who has everything, go to plasma-tracks.com. Not only produces original racetrack wall art, they do motorsports trophies, they do the Lionheart trophies, they do home decor, motorsports fabrication, you name it, they can do it. Words can't do justice to the uniqueness of their wares. The only way to fully appreciate the artwork is to see it yourself. Be warned, one visit, the next thing you know, you're going to be trying to convince your spouse why you need like 6 of them hanging in your office, which I'm still trying to talk my wife into. See it all, plasma-tracks.com. Hey, promo codes LRS2019 will get you 25% off of your order. Thank you to Plasma Tracks for all of their support and that fantastic promo code as well. This one is over, and it was an easy one for one Ryan Otis after Dave Walsh had his off. As we take a look at the Sim Pit race results, Otis with a 54.9 second win over Joshua Gaiman. If you're sitting there like smacking your $500 computer monitor, stop. It's not broken. Yes, Ryan Otis won by nearly a full minute. Joshua Gaiman, the benefactor of Sage Karam's third pit stop that we're still not really sure why Sage had to take there, comes home in second ahead of the master, Travis Jagerliner. Going to open up a magic show in Vegas next week after somehow making this on one stop and stealing a podium just ahead of JP Winchittle. Lionel Callisto comes back from a wreck to finish 5th, Dustin Wardlow 6th, Sage Karam, Chad Dalton, David Clymer, Finian DeCunha, your top 10. Nick?
Right behind them, Taft Baldwin actually going to be the last driver tonight to finish on the lead lap after a 41 laps around a 3-mile circuit. So pretty impressive speed out of our front runners. Dean Mole going to be right behind him, right there in that lucky dog position. 12th place. 13th goes to David Altman. Chris Lanini, 14th. 15th going to go to Tyson Landis. Good run for him, moving up 8 spots from 23rd. Scott Holmes, James Paulson, Ryan Corums, George Anzaldo, and Frank Beezer will round out the top 20.
As we move on down the field to 21st, we find Mr. Cody Eldred, Paul Jenkins in 22nd, and then we get to the cars that did not finish. Eric Block, Dave Walsh, your pole sitter, Ron Hacker, Aaron Morgan, Mark Cohn, unfortunately, was involved in that wreck with James Paulson, and then Ken Hacker, who went out on the first lap of this race. What do you say we talk to some people who are going to be awfully excited? We'll start with the one who was absolutely dominant in this race. Ryan Otis Flying Ryan takes the win, your first win of the year. Congratulations. That points lead just keeps growing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I guess it seemed like a really big win, but I was actually worried the whole time about Sage, only because I had done enough testing that um, I knew kind of what pace I could go if I was trying to save fuel. And a couple laps in, I thought, well, maybe I'll try to save fuel since I'm behind Dave here, and I started doing a little bit of coast and stuff, and Sage started catching me pretty fast, and I thought, well, if we're both saving fuel, then he's way faster than I am on a fuel save strategy, so I'm just going to go for it. So up until he had that late pit stop, I was actually pretty worried that he had enough of a gap on me that if he was doing an amazing job of saving fuel, then he was probably going to get me. So it ended up working out for me in the end.
You're talking about being worried that he might have tried to one-stop this race, right?
Yeah, I was worried that he was just had better pace than me, saving fuel, and that he was trying to one-stop. And so when I saw him catching me, when I attempted to do a little fuel saving, I decided to just go for it because it takes a lot of discipline because you had to do max fuel save basically the entire race if you wanted to do a one-stop. So I saw Travis do that. That's amazing.
It was incredible. We saw David Clymer tried it too and came in right in front of Travis, and we thought, well, this is over. And then all of a sudden, Travis hung out there and somehow made it work. Hey, you started this race in P2. Dave Walsh got out to a nice start there. He was about a second in front of you when he had that off-track incident and the crash there. Did you have anything for Dave? Were you worried about him and his pace early on? What was that like for you?
Oh, he had the pace for sure. I was doing everything I could just to stay within a second of him. And I saw him crashing the curbs pretty hard in that chicane, so I knew he was taking big risks to run those lap times, and I was kind of doing the same, really. We were both pushing pretty hard, so it ended up biting him. But that's the risk you take. He was doing a good job, though.
Well, congratulations. Your first win of the season here in the Retro Series, your third career win, and your first one since Montreal in Season 1. So great to see you back in Victory Lane and running the full year here with us in the Retro Series, Ryan. And like I said, that points lead, I think, is going to grow quite a bit given the absence of Sandman and the issues of Sage Karen and Mark Cohn. So you're looking awfully pretty right now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And I want to give a shout out to like Sam Maxwell Customs and Plasma Tracks, and Sim Experience, and really all the sponsors that came on board this year. It's been great, and their support is greatly appreciated.
Well, congratulations, Ryan. That was a great run, and he is your race winner, Ryan Otis. And Nick, who do you have?
I've caught up with Travis Jagerliner on the podium tonight after starting way back in 14th. Travis, that is a heck of a climb out there in a race where passing looked like it came kind of at a premium.
Well, I can certainly say I didn't do it on talent. So luckily the strategy.
Hey, now. Come on, Travis. Come on, Travis.
No, it was, I checked my pace in practice. I knew it was going to be tough to get a top 10, especially as talented as the field was. But in practice, I was able to save a ton of fuel and almost made race distance. So I was determined to make a one-stopper work, and I ran out of fuel going to the line, but it worked. Man, that was fun. It didn't look good with 5 laps to go, but somehow it came together.
Yeah, absolutely. That fuel strategy, of course, getting you up there from 14th to 3rd. I'd have to look back, but I think you might have been the biggest climber all night, moving up those 11 spots. One question I do have for you, not related to fuel, but we saw the track conditions out there, and very hot track all night, over 100 degrees. I don't think it dipped below 100 degrees Fahrenheit out there. Did you notice that here? This track already notorious for, picking up off tracks and people sliding all around. Did you struggle with the handling tonight with these setups?
Yeah, absolutely. With about 10 laps in, all of a sudden my braking distances were much greater than I expected. And luckily it played well into lift and coasting. So I think that probably helped me get a nice cushion to where, the guys behind me couldn't catch me, because that was the thing. I needed to stay in front of the guys behind to make the strategy work. So I think the hot track definitely played into my favor. And yeah, the braking distances for me were significantly different than in practice.
The Lionheart Retro IndyCar Series takes a week off next week, but after that, we're headed to New Hampshire for an oval race there at a small oval. The Magic Mile, you looking forward to that? It's a very unique track up there.
No, it is. I like short tracks. They're fun. They seem to, I don't know, they bring a lot more talent maybe, or I guess a lot more skill involved, but I'm not skilled on ovals, so it's going to take a lot of practice, but I got a good team, and they usually help coach me up in those situations. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then we got a stretch of road races here at the end. I think 4 stacked at the end. So man, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be a ton of fun. But no, it's a lot of fun running with these guys. So good group.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun watching them. We love calling the races, and hopefully, Travis, we get to talk to you again. Very, very fun watching you out there tonight with that strategy.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Travis Jagerleiner. Hey, we caught up with second place here. Josh Gaiman. Boy, I got to tell you, Joshua, I doubt you've had a chance to watch the broadcast yet. If you have, shame on you. But when you get to go back and watch it, you and JP spent like 36 laps as the stars of the broadcast because you guys put on a heck of a show. Tell me about it.
Yeah. God, don't worry. I noticed I was there. Man, I just ever since the beginning of the season, I had a good show at the All-Star race, and then after that, it was just one incident after another, and finally, I was in a spot where I could do good, and just wasn't giving up the spot easy. That's for sure.
JP was in front of you there for like 15 laps, and then you made that move with a couple laps to go, and then I think the Travis deal happened, and that kind of helped you out there. But walk me through the pass on JP. It was in a difficult section of the track to pass on, to say the least.
Yeah, it's definitely usually not a corner you want to try it at, but we kept coming up the lap cars here and there, and we kept catching up at the quick left right, and we finally had one car that had that just enough speed to stay ahead, and we both had to cut under him on the inside after the hairpin there, and I got a really good exit, dropped it down the first gear, and just was able to haul up the hill. And when we got to the next corner, we were wheel to wheel, so I just kind of held it on the bottom as good as I could and got to the throttle as soon as I could. So it's kind of stuck.
In the words of my normal co-commentator, Brian Yazik, I do believe you licked the stamp and sent it. It paid off.
Yeah, for once it did.
For once it did. Hey, second place, that's a great finish, a career best for you here in the Retro Series. So congratulations. And hey, you heard Ryan Otis talking about it. He's not real happy we're going back to ovals. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, with my luck on ovals, I'm kind of tempted to agree with him. I figured that'd be where I do really good, but a 6th place in the All-Star race at a road course and a 2nd place here on a road course, I might as well stick to it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hey, New Hampshire was one of my favorite races in this car last year. I think you're going to have fun there. So enjoy that. But congratulations on that 2nd place run tonight. Man, it was a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you.
All right, Nick, I think we got one more.
We do indeed have one more, and it's a driver that, despite Imola's nature, only had 1 incident point all night. And despite that, also was able to put on a heck of a show with the guy we just talked to there, Joshua Gaiman. JP, tell us about that battle from your viewpoint.
Oh my goodness, I was playing that defense game so hard, man. Oh my God, that was the most fun I've ever had on a road course. Not only on a road course, but in the this is the most fun I've ever had in a race period, I'd have to say. I was confident that I could hold that line. I was killing it through the chicane for a while until I stopped, until I wasn't. And every time he'd get that run going up the main straightaway going into turn 1, I knew if I could just hold my line all the way to the left side as much as I could, there wouldn't be enough room to make the move work, and one of us would have had to have chickened out, I guess you could say. Just I haven't played a game of chicken in a long time. I guess I'm not nearly as rusty as I thought I was, you know?
Yeah, I'd say that was a heck of a race there for you. Saw you and Josh both get up on the curbs quite a bit as well. Not a track that I would at least personally feel comfortable doing that, but
What, you're not
I'm
supposed to be on
obviously
the curbs here?
well, I mean, we saw a couple of drivers run into issues. Did you have any real scary moments, on those big sausages?
Oh boy, man! I thought my 56 double clutch Wiley race performance car was just gonna turn into an F18 a couple of times. I hit a couple curbs in that. I was just talking about the chicane, how comfortable I felt through there. I hit it a couple of times. In a way, I thought my race was over, but I kept it together somehow, and I'm bummed. I know I don't sound heartbroken. I guarantee you I am. I'm just really, really good at hiding it. And, and it's just, I wanted that podium so bad, man.
Yeah, despite I've thought for sure you and Josh would come to the line side by side, but somehow you finished with 3 seconds in between. You talk about that fuel strategy quickly before we let you go here this evening.
Yeah, my spotter, my strategist today, Steven Larkamp, shout out to you, shout out to him. He's killing it in the Lionheart IndyCar series this year, may I add. And he helped us out. He helped me out with my fuel strategy quite a bit. I kept asking him throughout the race, what's the leader doing? What's Ryan doing? And we just stuck to whatever he was doing and just came in for the most part at the right time, aside from Gaiman coming out on me right on my tail right after that last pit stop. I thought I had the podium for sure when Sage came in when he did, but Travis, man, heck of a job saving, man. I thought I had something for you, but I just ran out of time.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can talk to you again in the next coming weeks and here
so.
in the Lionheart IndyCar Retro Series. That was pretty awesome.
Hey, if racing doesn't work out for you, JP, Joe Peak runs GSRC. He's always looking for commentator.
Oh, I'm down.
I figured you would be.
I mean, voice acting. I've commentated a fair bit here. I'm not going to go on to a big plug about myself. There's just no need for that right now, But
winshittle.com
yeah, totally
for more information.
Thank you.
Congratulations, bud.
Thank you, boys.
All righty. Nick, what do you say we put a bow on this and put it under the tree?
I think that would be a nice present for a couple of drivers that especially want to put this race behind them.
Definitely. Again, we want to thank everybody who makes this series happen, and there are a lot of people. It starts with our good friends at Butt Kicker for coming on board as the primary sponsor this year, and George Ansaldo and his team at the Lionheart series, the admins, everybody that helps put this deal together, the support team as well. It takes a village to put a series like this in a league like this with this many series and sponsors together. They do a phenomenal job, and believe me, it's like having a second full-time job. I want to thank everybody that helps us out here on the Global Sim Racing channel, GSRC. They provide us the software and the hardware that we use for our broadcasts here. Additional thanks goes out to June Lalonde, who provides that wonderful music that you listen to throughout the night. If you want to get a hold of her, more of her great work, follow that website right there on the screen. Check it out. See more June's great work. The team today, Nick, thanks for jumping on board and filling in for the banker. Hopefully Brian Yazek can cash a check or two and actually make it back to a race with us here in the Retro Series. I'm Jenny. I'm going to call it the shots. Dougie Beard with the cameras for us. If you'd like to find out more about our good friends at the Global Sim Racing channel, head to globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also see all the archive races and more upcoming broadcasts. You can also follow them on social media at GSRC channel and Facebook/Global Sim Racing channel. Our next race on the iRacing Esports Network is right there on your screen. Thursday, July 11th, 10:35 Eastern as the Retro Series heads to New Hampshire. But before then, check us out on Wednesday, July 3rd. Hey, that's next week as the Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment heads to Texas and Eddie Gossage's track. First shootout there as well. More races coming up here on GSRC and the iRacing Esports Network flashing across your screen right now. Until next time, just remember, no matter how good or bad your race was, a day with racing, much better than a day without. Have a good night, everybody.